السكون منطقي بالخدمة والشغل خدمة كتبية يسوس سكينة يشوف كتب سنتوري الشغل Hi everyone. Oh, one sec. Sorry. Hi, sorry about that. Hi everyone, I am Dara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit to Spirit Teachings of Going Within Self, on TikTok's 1974 Light Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend, suggest, and I really encourage you to read the description on my YouTube channel to get a better understanding of what it is that I bring forward. As some of you know, I use a lot of my own life experiences and as like in reference to things that happen in the world and things that happen to me to kind of give you where my journey went from and where it's going. Now, I was watching a few videos today on TikTok because I scroll through just to see, because I don't watch the news or I don't really watch TV at all. I mostly listen to the radio or I binge watch Once Upon a Time because I resonate with magic and energy and Buddhist I tell people, I didn't learn these languages anywhere. Spirit. Now, I can feel when somebody comes in, it's like, let's silence her. Nah, let's not say you did. Now, there was a couple things I'm going to touch on because I have it on I put it to my messenger where this guy, he was talking about money and Donald Trump. And, like with regards to Donald Trump and politics, like that's a tough thing. A lot of people, you get really irritated and, you probably throw your mega attacks at me. It's like, okay? So it's like, back when I first started going through these, this awakening, I had a guy come to my house and he told me there was some musicians and actors who he was channeling that really wanted to attack me. Sorry, I gotta get my cord, sorry. It's like, I come from a long line of healers, witches, warlocks, shamans, rabbis, religious seals. So it's like, yeah, and one of my great granddaddies is really pissed because you took a few things from him after you tried to drive him insane. what we got here. My channel's not for everyone. I'll make you laugh. I'll make you cry. I'll piss you off. You want to smack me upside my head? You'll love me, hate me, like me, loathe me. All of the above. And that's just fine because, hey, I came here to work with spirit. I gotta, like, okay, I gotta set this over here and just do a little bit of moving around. I put my stuff back out today, so I did a little bit of rearranging. Okay. And I ended up like channeling a okay. Did I lose it? Okay. To ones on TikTok. Just one sec. Because there's a couple things. I have to do this. No. Okay. This kid's head banging. Okay, let's do it again. Shulia pataye ke to ki sumota. I'm not sure it's gonna work that way. Okay. Might be able to get it there. Start trying to. Okay, I think on TikTok, I will be right back momentarily. I just got to go in and get something.
Right, so you come on my lives. Lately, I've been picking up on a lot of craziness. But today, I want to talk about a time.
Sorry about that, everyone on Facebook and YouTube. I just had to find something. Okay. Hey, TikTok, welcome back in. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to show you something because when that happened, I found it like I channeled spirit. Okay. Now, this is the video of the guy that I was talking about. Okay. Because there's two different parts to this. Okay. Because when I watched this video, I sat and I channeled. Okay. I asked Spirit about it. Okay. Really sick and way. Okay. So we're going to do this and we're going to hear what he has to say. Oh, shit. Okay. Is anybody familiar with, hold on. Please pause. Okay. So how do I? So we're going to make this a full screen. Okay. How many have heard? How many of you, Nick? 6867. Okay. Okay. Might help if I unmute it. Okay, so here. Go with this guy. Okay. Oh my goodness. No wonder it wouldn't work. Yep, my blonde hair matches who I am. Okay. Okay. Now, why is this? This is weird. I did look on my. Why is volume not working? Mm-hmm. No, it's not working. Weird. Nope. Okay. This will. Okay. Oh, playing a little game, are we? Gorisito porisi, Noel. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Oh, here it is. Playing my own little game. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay. Playing a little game with myself, not paying attention. Okay. Yep, my hair is matching my personality today. Okay, so this guy here, okay, and then we're gonna look into something. That would be the rabbit hole.
It's obvious now that the SNAP benefits money is gone. Donald Trump has allocated those funds to somewhere else. He's been fighting to try to get all kinds of courts to stop sending SNAP benefits monies. So where has the money gone? Donald Trump has stolen millions and millions and millions of dollars of food aid from American citizens. But where has the money gone? I think that's obvious now. That's obvious. Well, I think it's obvious now that this.
Okay. Excuse me. So I was sitting there and I heard that and I was watching it and what have you. And then I asked Spirit, where is the money? And strangely, what came to mind, what came to me was the White House in the mountain. Okay, we go, well, the White House in the mountain. The White House ain't in the mountain. Well, there's a White House in the mountain. And when I Googled it, it was very strange because before I had channeled and I asked people, like, do you know what this means? Because it's kind of code like what CIA agents or police or FBI agents and military, if they're talking to one another, they use codes, right? So what came to me one other day when I was talking about like the political stuff and everything like that was there was a raid in the White House. Okay. And Spirit had said that out. And when I realized what it meant, I started laughing. It's like, okay. So I know what it means. I'm not sure if any of you do, but it's one of those things that, you know, hey, one day you'll know. There is a raid in the White House. So I looked up oh, this is just we're going to do this so then you can see what I looked up. Okay, so we're going to do this. Okay, get down here. Okay, so I Googled the White House on the mountain. That's what I got. The White House on the mountain most likely refers to Camp David, the U.S. presidential retreat located in the mountains of Maryland. Holy shit. Oh, they don't like that. I'm connected to Spirit. It is formerly known as the Naval Support Facility, Vermont, and services as a country residence for the president and a place to host foreign leaders. You know that girl that comes on, there's a girl that comes on and she said, when that person has that weird fucking out there like not me, but she was referring to somebody else. Oh, that's the demons. Is it the demons? They say, or is it that, they're coming after? I channel light and dark, shadows and ego. Arequito por aquí, anoto este. So I went and I looked up Camp David. Camp David. For the negotiations, I didn't see this. For the negotiations leading to the 1979 Egypt-Israel peace treaty, see Camp David Accords. For the summit in 2000, see 2000 Camp David Summit. For Trillium Summit in 2023, see Camp David Principles. For the fashion label, see Camp David Fashion. Camp David is a 25-acre, 51-hectare country retreat for the President of the United States. It lies in the wooded hills of Catoctin Mountain Park, CATOCTIN Mountain Park in Frederick County, Maryland. You're going to get this too because I'm going down the rabbit hole. How convenient. Frederick County. Donald Trump's father's name is Frederick. Grandfather, sorry. Maryland, near the towns of Vermont and Emmitsburg, about 62 miles, 100 kilometers northwest of the national capital city, Washington, D.C. It is coded name Naval Support Facility, Vermont. Technically, a military installation. It is staffed primarily by the Seabees, the Civil Engineer Corps, CEC, and the United States Navy and the United States Marine Corps. Fucker! Dice karata, questa moia stoccare, su di karata, di stile. Con essa moia. Naval construction, Belatin or Batalonians, can't spell it, are tasked with Camp David construction and sent detachments as needed. Originally known as High Catoctin, Camp David was built as a retreat for federal government agents and their families by the Work Progress Administration. Construction started in 1935 and was completed in 1938. In 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt converted it to a presidential retreat and renamed it Shangri-La. Feels good. Bring it. Bring my hand. Yes, Maria. protected. Psychotic? No. After the fictional Himalayan paradise. Let's go down that. Blech. Oh gosh. Cabela's, Kalama Mountains, Lost Person, James Hilton. Yeah, I just felt that. Really? You just tried to fucking snap my neck? You know, I had a vision where it's like a dream, but it was a vision. It was like it felt so. It was real, and it was down in these. It was like I was down in an underground bunker type thing, and we were put in these rooms, and there was me and another person, and that person was crying, and I think it might have been a girl. Might have been a female, not sure, because I didn't really get a look. I just heard the crying, and remember hearing the cry, and that was like I was laying back on a bed, but my legs were hanging over like you do with a chair. And this other person was crying because they were afraid because here they're coming for us. So I touched her her, whichever it was, I touched them. And when I touched them, they went they went out, they went to sleep. So when that happened, my legs come up. So I was flat like that, and I levitated up off the bed, and I started floating out the door and down the hallway. And when I floated down the hallway, I was going by people about waist height, and I got down to the end of the hallway, and there was a man standing there, and they were like a chief or something like that. Because I like the thing, it was the symbol that I remembered. I had it wrong, and shit happened. And when I did it, my body went straight up like that in front of their face. I ended up standing up off the ground, eye to eye with them. And then I remember it was like I was in a room, and there was a few around me, and they had me like this. And one was coming down on top of, going to come down on my neck like that. They're going to bust my neck, just like what they tried there. Because how do I know that? Because I was sick, and I felt the crack. And when they went to do that, somebody come rushing in and say, "No, don't." And they said something after that. And, people know what they said. So then that's when I was going out of this building. I was going down a hallway, and it looked like a government facility, like I keep feeling like it was almost like it was a hospital or like some form of building. It was when I come out the door, I said about somebody there and the dangerous, and then there was this guy, and they were like going by, and when I get out, I told them about this person, and they said, "Get her to the car." So they got me to the car, but they looked back and they asked where this person was, the one that went and got me, and they went to get this other person. So they got me in the car, and the car door was open, and the guy, he come around the door, and I was freaked out in this dream vision. I didn't know what was going on. And I went like that. but their mouth was moving, but I couldn't hear them. So I was getting more, and I went like that to both hands. And I started, and they kept trying and coming towards me and talking. So I went like that. And when I went like that, they flew through the air. I ended up in trees, and then I ended up awake in my bed. Okay. So, Camp David received its present name in 1953 from President Dwight Eisenhower in honor of his father and his grandson, both named David. So this here, the White House in the mountain, it's actually an establishment. It's for the president. It's a retreat for the president and to take the leaders. The Catoctin Mountain Park does not indicate the location of Camp David on parks maps due to privacy and security concerns, although it can be seen through the use of publicly accessibly satellite images and is also viewable on certain public web mapping services like Google Maps. Presidential use. Camp David has been used to host private diplomatic meetings for foreign leaders and heads of states since at least World War II. Getting that? You know, hey, you don't have to believe me. Go look into it yourself. Seriously, if you get something that sounds like and it's coming to you and you think it sounds foolish or stupid, because to say the White House on the mountain, who would think to think of the White House on the mountain? What is it, Mount Hermon you talk about? But this is the White House on the mountain, and it's a presidential retreat. And now, since World War II, Franklin D. Roosevelt hosted Winston Churchill at Shangri-La, much like Mar-a-Lago in ways, but, you know, don't know what Shangri-La looks like, but hey, you know, hey. It came to me when it said about the hidden money. So what else is hidden there? In May 1943, how convenient. During World War II, Dwight Eisenhower held his first post-heart attack cabinet meeting there on November 22nd, 1995, following hospitalization and convalescence he required after a heart attack suffered in Denver, Colorado on September 24th. Eisenhower met Nikita Khrushchev, Khrushchev. You know, look it up, Camp David. The White House in the mountain. I also had another vision where I went and it was like I was going underground. Like, I mean, it was like I was going down a hill into the earth and I could see like another planet next to me. It was like another earth and I could see it. And I kept walking and I come into this, it was like a cabin. And it was really weird because it was a cabin, but it was almost like it wasn't a house cabin. And when I come out of there, I ended up coming up out of like a warehouse. It was warehouse doors. And I was like, I don't know if that's connected to the vision I had where I walked in and there were people in pens, like pigs. Eisenhower met, okay, there for 2 days of discussion in September 1959. Keep in mind, it has 125 acres. John F. Kennedy and his family often enjoyed riding and other recreational activities there. And Kennedy often allowed White House staff and cabinet members to use the retreat when he or his family were not there. Hey, is that where you got the time machine? Whoa! And if people don't know, like want to tell me how I look, I already know how I look. Arisito kareksho lemi kitay turisi kumura. Lyndon B. Johnson met with adversaries in this setting and hosted both Australian Prime Minister Harold Holt and Canadian Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson there. Richard Nixon was a frequent visitor. Why would you be a frequent visitor? Seriously. Richard Nixon was a frequent visitor. He personally directed the contract of a swimming pool and other improvements to Aspen Lodge. Gerald Ford hosted Indonesia President Suharto, Suharto at Camp David. Now, Spirit's making me look at something because Spirit's showing me something. Swimming pool. Do you know how people talk about Pizzagate or whatever it's called? You say about the paintings. Is it possible that some of those paintings came from this place? I'm just asking. See? Queen, Mar-a-Lago, it's all connected. Jimmy Carter initially favored closing Camp David in order to save money, but once he visited the retreat, he decided to keep it. Why? What is there that would want to make them keep it? Maybe some of you know about this, and maybe some of you don't. Carter brokered the Camp David Accords there in 1978 between Egyptian President Anwar al-Sadat and Israel Prime Minister Menachem Begin. Let's go to Camp David Accords. Prepare a political agreement signed in September following 12 days of secret negotiations the country retreat of the President of Maryland. The two framework agreements were signed in the White House and were witnessed by Jimmy Carter. The second of these frameworks, conclusion of peace treaty between Egypt and Israel, led directly to the 1979 Egypt-Israel peace treaty. Okay, going in. I'm giving you a bit. You know, it's up to you if you want to go look further into it. But you know, I think you should. And then confirmation. Ronald Reagan visited the retreat more than any other president. In 1984, Reagan hosted British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Reagan restored the nature trails that Nixon paved over so he could horseback ride at Camp David. George H.W. Bush's daughter, Dorothy Bush-Nog, was married there in 1992 in the first wedding held at Camp David. During this tenure as president, Bill Clinton spent every Thanksgiving at Camp David with his family. In July 2000, he hosted the 2000 Camp David Summit negotiations between Israel Prime Minister Edward Barak and Palestinian Authority Chairman Yasser Arafat. There. In February 2001, George W. Bush held his first meeting with the European leader, British Prime Minister Tony Blair, at Camp David to discuss missile defense, Iraq, and NATO. After the September 11th attacks, Bush held a cabinet meeting at Camp David to prepare for United States invasion of Afghanistan. During his 2 terms in office, Bush visited Camp David 149 times for a total of 487 days. What were you doing there? What was so fascinating about being there? I think you all know. For hosting foreign visitors as well as a personal retreat. He met Blair there 4 times among the numerous other foreign leaders he hosted at Camp David, where Russian President Vladimir Putin and President Musharraf of Pakistan in 2003, Danish Prime Minister orders for Rasmussen in June 2006, and British Prime Minister Gordon Brown in 2007. Why all the secret meetings? Because that's a secret place. It's supposed to be private, right? Barack Obama chose Camp David to host the 38th G8 Summit in 2012. President Obama also hosted Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, Medvedev, at Camp David, as well as the GCC summit there in 2015. Donald Trump hosted Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Speaker of the House Paul Ryan at Camp David, while the Republican Party prepared to defend both houses of Congress in 2018 midterm election. Prepared to defend both houses of Congress. Something's not right with that sentence. Prepared to defend both houses of Congress. But you shut down. So both houses mean both houses of Congress refers to the bicameral legislation. No, legislature of the United States, which consists of the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives, for a bill to become law. So what bill was he trying to say? What bill he was trying to bring in? Trump also planned to meet with the Tibetan at Camp David to negotiate a peace agreement in 2019, but refrained after a suicide bombing in Kabul killed U.S. troops. The 46th G7 summit was to be held at Camp David on June 10th to 12th, 2020, but was canceled due to health concerns during what was at the time considered the high of the COVID impact. Joe Biden hosted the U.S. Japan Korea summit with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol at Camp David in August 2023, resulting in the declaration of Camp David Principles on Trilateral relations between the U.S., Japan, and South Korea. Presidents visited to Camp David. Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Clinton, George W. Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Okay, these are the times. Okay. Roosevelt, unknown. Truman, 10 times. Eisenhower, 45. Kennedy, 19. Johnson, 30. Nixon, 160. Ford, 29. Carter, 99. Reagan, 189. George H.W. Bush, 124. Clinton, 60. George W. Bush, 150 times. Obama, 39. Trump, 15 first term, 1 second term. Biden, 39. Practice golf facility. Eisenhower did that. You know, I gotta say, like, all this shit is on taxpayers' on your dollars. And what are they really like? Really, what are they doing there? Because it's a secret place. It's the military, the Marine Corps. What you're going to find is wherever they're spending the most time, and it's probably all in secret because the G7 summit, Trump canceled that because of COVID, and they did it by video conference. Later, however, Trump suggested that the G7 could be held in person at the White House or Camp David. In late May 2020, German Chancellor Angela Merkel declined Trump's invitation to attend a G7 summit in late June, citing the ongoing pandemic. Oh, interesting. When I typed in 46th G Summit, the 46th G7 Summit of the leaders of the Group of Seven was originally scheduled for June 10th, 12th, 2020 at Camp David, United States. However, the summit was canceled due to COVID-19 pandemic. Planned venue, attempt to hold summit at Trump Resort. Choice of the summit's location was controversial. The Secret Service initially vetted 10 sites for the summit and reduced that list to 4 in Hawaii, Utah, California, and North Carolina. It then eliminated the California and North Carolina sites and added the President Donald Trump's direction, the opinion of hosting at Trump National Dolor in Miami. So did they have, what do you say, more than if they couldn't have it at Camp David, why would they be able to have it at Trump's National Dolor? What is that? Also known as Dolor Resort. It's a Gulf resort in Dolor, South Florida, United States. It was founded by a real estate pioneer with the name. The resort consists of 800 acres prior to its renovation. The club was reported to feature 4 golf courses, 700 hotel rooms across 12 lodges, more than 86,000 square feet of meeting space, including a 25,000 square foot ballroom. Hey, you pansy boy, I guess you like your ballrooms, don't you? Where's your little tutu? I'm serious. It's like me get your ballerina suit. All right, you need to go down. Yeah. Messiah. Hey, just giving you a little bit of your own fucking medicine. What are you doing? Better get the little girls in there. What do you think? Like, why are they holding? If they're doing what's in the best interest of the people, shouldn't the people know what they're doing? Not them fucking going to these goddamn fucking retreats? What the fuck was that? That was weird because coming up my camera, it was like it looked like smoke, but there's no smoke. So it's like, see, the choice of the summit location. Okay, on October 17th, 2019, Trump's acting White House chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, Mulvaney, son of a bitch, John Michael. No, he'll just keep going. Announced the summit would be held at the Trump National Gallery, dismissing concerns about political conflict of interest and the prospect of a president personally profiling from an original event. Dude, man. People say that's propaganda. My timer just said 11:44. Trump initially touted the benefits of using his resort for the conference and called the selection something very good for our country. But 2 days later, after Fire Pernicious criticisms announced that the G Summit would no longer be held at Gallery, blaming media and Democrat craze and irrational hostility on his Twitter account. I am laughing, okay, because I find it very fucking amusing. And I know it's not very funny, but I find it amusing in the way that he's showing you and he's telling you and he's flaunting it in your face. So you're the people, right? He's using he's benefiting from everything they do. And I thought your president or prime minister was not supposed to be allowed to benefit, because I know that when they were doing RFK Jr., they told him that he wasn't allowed. I guess it was why he was serving. He wasn't allowed to. He wasn't allowed to practice his law because he wasn't allowed to profit from it. He wasn't allowed to profit from. But Donald Trump's profiting from everything. And people are right. He's robbing you. He's giving you the illusion, the entertainment in the front. While you're watching his little AI videos and mocking them, he's laughing at you. I guess people did get what they wanted. Not in a good way. Probably not what they were expecting, but the criminals would expect that because that's what they wanted. Are you a criminal? Are you playing along with this? He's waking a lot of people up, yes. But he keeps deflecting, he keeps directing it and going all over the place. You don't notice that. That's how they do it. They keep you running the rat race down this rabbit hole and that rabbit hole. I just lost some people with that. Well, that's okay. But if you think, you say, oh, well, Donald Trump's paying for the ballroom out of his own money. No, he's not. He's fucking stealing it from you and saying it's his money. Meanwhile, this, what directed me here was because it was said that he's stealing the money that's supposed to go to SNAP or for food for people. Que le doy nine. But you keep going with it. You're saying he has dementia and all this stuff. Why don't you look back at World War II, at Hitler? Don't they say that Donald Trump is a sleazebag? Are you sure he don't have syphilis? Because he sure the fuck acts a lot like Hitler. You learned a few things from him, right? Are you sure he's not your father? Yeah, I'm not. You didn't like that, huh? Hitler went around and at people's inventions, burning your books. See, you think that one is better than the other, but they're all playing the game. They're getting a little cutthroat with one another, but they're all having an orgy together. Look back in Roman times. In Roman times, there was a lot of homosexuality there, and they wanted men to rule, and women were supposed to be pieces of their shit, seen and not heard, and only seen when needed. Where's this, no offense to people who are transgender, but please don't get your body mutilated. If you're homosexual, be a homosexual. But I'll tell you, when you look back in Roman times, and you look at a lot of the artistry, what is it? It's a bunch of men running around fucking naked. But just scream about stuff. Please, don't mutilate your body. Don't destroy your body because you feel you have to look a certain way. Maybe, like, some women can grow facial hair. I've seen women with some facial hair. But this is all like Roman shit. Hitler stuff. It was about bringing in AI. AI is helping with certain things. And we're going to get to another part because it was just one, it was 11, 11, 1 on my time. And it's going to have to do with time travel. That's what I said. Is it at the White House in the mountain? And why did you change to G7? 125 acres wasn't big enough for your son. Do you really think that when they say that the royal family or what have you was going out chasing foxes? Yeah, it's like the movies, the Hunger Games, and people say we're living in fantasy world. No, you're all screaming about child trafficking, human trafficking. And I told you that I had dreams and visions that there were people in pens like pigs. And what they say about like Christ putting the demons into the pigs. How often does Donald Trump shit his pants? Because I'll tell you, the abuse on him started at a very young age. Physical, mentally, emotionally, psychological, spiritual, energetic. And I do believe that they were doing rituals and urinating on him as a child. He was bred for this. And whether I feel for him or not, it's like when I said about my sixth great granddaddy, I could see why he would be so angry. Because my sixth great granddaddy watched his father have his head get scalped. And he was 1.5, and people will laugh. You wanted to make a name for yourself. You wanted to be rich and famous. You wanted to go down in history. No, I do believe that, they should be running a test on him to find out if he has syphilis. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted infection, STD, that caused by the bacterial, okay, and processes through the stages, primarily secondary. Okay, symptoms depend on the stage. Okay, so let's go. Causes and transmission. It's what I just said, through oral, anal, and vaginal sex. An infected person. The infection is most contagious during primary and secondary stages. Now, here's the symptoms. Primarily a painless sore called cancer or chancer appears. CHANCR. Didn't say I was good at reading. Appears often on vegetables, but can also be in the mouth, on the lips. The sore goes away on its own. Okay. Secondary symptoms can include red or brownish on the palms of the hands and soles of the feet, fever, swelling lymph nodes, and fatigue. You can't sleep. Latent. There are no visible symptoms, but the infection is still present. To treat. The stage can occur years later and lead to severe health problems affecting the brain, heart, nervous system, and other organs. Neurosyphilis, the brain or spinal cord, and result in dementia or strokes. And people say it looks like he has dementia, and he's been having, when you see him like that and he's going out, he's having many strokes. And I'm almost certain that it's the syphilis has gotten used it. And who knows how long he's had it. I'm not defending his actions, no. But I'm bringing forward a lot of what could be causing them. I said before, even if it was my worst enemy, if I knew they were right, I would defend them. It's not about forgiveness. It's about seeing what's right. I know what it's like to have the brain messed up. Post-traumatic brain injury for years. And I kept going unconscious. And I would get angry. rational and irrational decisions. And I go unconscious, holy crap. It ever friggin' hurt because I just lose everything and like boom, right smack dab to the floor. It's like, see what I should do there. It's like you feel like you just sometimes you just feel like you just want to bang your head on the wall. It's like when you see an autistic person. It's like your whole brain feels like it's shaking. You don't want to sleep. Sometimes, most of the time, you can't sleep, but you don't want to sleep. And I was eating a lot of fast food and drinking a lot of coffee and pop. It was because with the coffee and the pop, I was using it as a diuretic because I could feel the swelling. I just wanted to take my head and just, that was caused from a major car accident in 2006. So it does. There were times when it was like my memory was off. One day I know that when I was in hospital, it was 2017. As and I was like, it was like I was like, kind of like, where's mom? My brain was saying, where was my mom? But I knew she was dead. But my brain was saying, where's mom? And whenever I say that right now, it's like when I'm saying, where's mom? I can feel that. And it was a lot of it was caused from an impaired cerebral metabolism, which is a lack of oxygen and glucose getting brain. And I had other lesions and that on my brain. It was like a shaken baby syndrome. So with regards to the confusion and like I couldn't concentrate and I couldn't really read, but I had a memory and everything almost seemed scattered, easy to get confused. But with syphilis, I didn't have the dementia, but I had the brain thing, and I did. I know that I had many strokes because I would feel my face start to droop, and then in 2020, that's when I actually had a stroke at home. It was the night that I tried unaliving myself, or was it that night? No, it was the next day. It was well the next day. No, it was that. Sorry, excuse me. It was the day of that night when I did it, but that day. Oh yeah, it was then because I took it and I could feel because when I tried to do it, I just took it and I laid myself down because I knew it was going to go fast because it was like 30, 10 milligrams of hydromorphone that I took. And I laid down. And I felt myself slip, like going. And I could feel it was like with my mom in spirit and a man with her, and they're shaking me. Come on, Tara, no, don't. Because they tried to get me not to do it. And I took, and it was like, if I'm meant to survive, I will. And I, here's bottomed up. Because I was going through that. I knew I was in it, like I had been in a fight for my soul the night before. So they were shaking me, my upper body and everything. And then all of a sudden, my left leg flung off the bed, and my right leg got flung off the bed. And one pushed me up and pulled me, and then they hoisted me up. And my body was just going. And then, come on, Terry, you gotta stay up. Come on, honey. Come on, you gotta stay up, honey. And they got me to get in the tub and everything. So that was the sign of the stroke. And some of my videos, especially on YouTube, Spirit to Spirit Teachings Going Within Self, I have older ones on there. And it's me talking after everything started happening in 2019 when I went down to Costco. And that was when I died. Okay. But I know I got on that, but that's just kind of basically what I. But people, you really like Donald Trump needs to be checked for syphilis because if he's doing anything, he's passing it on. What did they say about King Solomon? King Solomon had what? 700 wives. I am referring to different biblical texts with regards to it because you're in biblical times. But you've never left Roman. You've never left. When you thought that the Roman Empire fell, it didn't fall. It just went into hiding. In plain sight. Just altered a few things. Said here, we'll just change a few things, and we'll keep them distracted here and make them think this. Why do you think you have like Christian against the Christian against Israel, Israel? It never stopped. So he's always blaming the other side and takes no responsibility for the things that he does. Maybe he was never held. Well, I mean, you're seeing now he's never been held accountable. But the people who victimized him needs to be held accountable too. Trumpers will think that you're throwing shade on Donald Trump. You love him. Good. there's things that he's doing that, they make sense. But there's really dangerous ones that don't. It's like, yeah, I'm going to refer to, like, this may lose people, but, we're in biblical times. I'm going to refer to the book of Thomas, one that's not in your book, but it refers to Jesus came to make chaos. And landlord, a lord. A lord means landlord. Dominion over the land. You got the greedy version. I'm just saying, how much help are people getting? Okay, I want, like, I know there's propaganda, and I know that there are pays and there are PCs and what have you. Seriously, necesito morir ya, estoy eso. Am I psycho? Are you sure about that? Or is it because I'm going spirit to spirit and that spirit knows exactly what I'm talking about? Because it's the one that's doing it. It's like once upon a time you have the dark one. And all he had to do was hold his hand as if he was choking someone. And it choked him through energy. My head, it was like I feel it right in here. It's almost like a pressure and almost like kind of shakes. It's like earthquake. And it's the way to look at. So, he blamed media and now he bought media. Like he's getting his buddies to buy it all up. Don't talk about him here. Oh, you know, disikulato kulma sholeto krisie. See, I'm going to be playing another video here shortly. Okay. At the time of the announcement, Trump was target of two lawsuits: D.C. and Maryland versus Trump, and Crew versus Trump, alleging that he was violating the U.S. Constitution, foreign and domestic emoluments clauses because of payments received from the Saudi government and other foreign governments for stays at his Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C. Legal experts debated whether hosting the G7 at a Trump-owned property would violate the Constitution's emoluments clause. when I read that, I felt like there was like something moved in here, but it moved in the throat chakra because it's holding right here. Yeah, selection of Camp David. On December 3rd, 2019, it was announced that the summit would be held at Camp David, the country retreat at the Presidential of the United States, President of the retreat of the President of the United States. The same venue hosted the group's 38th summit in 2012. Postponements and cancellations. In response to the Congress canceled the G7 and Camp David and said that the meeting would be conducted by video conference. He didn't get his own way, so he said, fuck you, they ain't going anywhere. We're going to do it by camera. Yeah, I said. I channel both the dark and the light. You know, my channel is not for everyone. You'll say, she's demonic, she got demons. So do you. What you want? I had like I speak aggressively as a girl, and the white will too. And I posted a video on my Facebook. I'm fighting right now, yeah. On my Facebook, and someone commented and said that I didn't seem happy, I seemed angry, and they hoped I found peace. Which, thank you. I have found peace. You're just witnessing. It's my heart life. I hope that's the way I thought. True humiliation. Yep, humility. I'm going to show you a picture of this place. Could you please tell me, this is a picture of the White House retreat. Could you please tell me where they were holding these summits? Because this is where they were holding. See that? See that? That looks awfully small. But how big did they say it was? Oh, okay. Yeah. Like I'm looking at that. That doesn't look very big. So it doesn't look very big. So what would they be using it? Like they're using it as a summit. That's a little strange. Where are they all staying? Oh, right, they're getting that. But don't they have them there? Is where did they say? Okay, let's go down a rabbit hole. Yeah, Mount Hermon. It resembles like, was it, you say about the fallen angels, okay, and you say that they come down on Mount Hermon. It's a mountain cluster in Lebanon mountain range. Its summit straddles the border between Syria and Lebanon. So, Maryland. Yeah, I keep that on my back. Oh, shit. Yeah, basically. Now, see, we talked about, it's like 144 on the timeline. I said about time travel. Some people don't believe in time travel. I know who my sixth granddaddy was and what he was all about and what he could do. And I understand with regards to time travel. Okay. See, people like Nikola Tesla. Okay. Because Donald Trump's uncle knew Nikola Tesla because he took his stuff from him. Nikola Tesla actually made the time machine. It wasn't the blueprints. They got blueprints. But he had already made the time machine. So before his death, you think of it this way, Nikola Tesla was not a stupid man. He might have played stupid. But see, c'est como totoina para eso lui takara muhen ya totoina se atlashe to selektive para no look at the film Hay que estudiar. Isso, eu tô já em algum. Keep hearing, do you get it yet? Do you get it yet? I think yesterday is super wire. Sì, come da mia. Yeah. Every time I do something, I keep being brought back to Oak Island. It's like we use ancient and present biblical. Anubis and Saint Christopher. They're both depicted. Yeah, people seem to go like that. Good. I'm glad you do. Saint Christopher and Anubis were both depicted to be humans with canine heads. So was Cain. Now, good morning. When you, okay. It's like Egypt and Rome. Okay. Egyptians, Anubis, the canine. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but that's the idea because that's the depiction of the pictures in ancient times. And then if you look in your biblical sense, it depicts them as a canine. So it's much like the twin effect, right? So I was watching this video with this woman, and she was explaining something with regards to Donald Trump and his family stealing the technology for time travel. They also have, you know, blueprints of free energy. But I'm not sure if they have the real stuff. They might. But I'm not sure they have it. Because I'm almost wondering, like, you know, if they had that, they'd still charge money for it. They just wouldn't tell you. Or they just, you know, hoarding it for themselves. And that's how they get so rich. Okay, I'm going to take you back. Okay, 1756. Okay, 1749 to 1752, that the Cornwallis's crew and the European settlers come over. The British come over and the European settlers. Okay? And it was 1756 that my seventh great granddaddy got scalped in front of his 1.5-year-old son and wife. She was pregnant. But he didn't die. They drug him off to George's Island. And when I went there, it was pretty like shit, man. First time I went there, I went in. I didn't know it was the prison. I went in before, like I went in the big part, and I was like, I could see somebody sitting over in the corner. So that would have been the guard. And, at that time, I didn't know because I didn't know I was in a prison. And I seen this spot, it had, like, there was no door on it, but it looked like it would have had a door. And I had a feeling, I was like, okay. And I walked in and I was going to go in one room, like, nope, because I seen a whole bunch of people standing there. And then there was somebody across the hall. And then when I got down to the other, at the back, like there was a spot there. It was like there would have been a dog there. And I mean, it wasn't a nice looking dog. It was a nasty dog. Nasty. Because I seen it in my vision because they skinned and burnt my great granddaddy a lot. Because he looked like, when he came to me, he looked like somebody who was inside out, and that was much like my drawing. It looked like somebody had been skinned and even burnt. And in this vision, he was there. He was there. And he had this, like I said, it was a really, like a really nasty looking dog. Like it was demonic looking. Let's see if we can show it. And they depict Saint Christopher as carrying both what you perceive to be the devil and what you perceive to be Christ. Okay? See, yeah, I know they're trying to get in my head. I can feel that. Okay. Resi no toccare tare sito morisha la carea sara e sulle. Okay. So Saint Christopher would have been representation of the Rome. Controlling, narcissistic, no respect for women, and plenty of orgies. I'm not saying the Egyptians were any better for orgies. And they were both the same. So is it father and son that's at war, or is it brothers? And not full brothers, but half brothers. Because you had Jacob and his brother. You see Lucifer and Michael. Now, there was a picture that I seen. Excuse me 1 second, TikTok. I will go to get loading. Mhm. Excuse me for a minute. I know. It's like, what's she doing? I'm looking for specific. Okay, vorrei che Atari sia select operation. Operation. Yes. Like, what's she doing? I'm looking for something. Yes, right here. Sorry. I was like, what's she doing? Han är inte att komma så det är så korrekt. Thank you for your patience. Okay, now. Okay. Well, ain't that something? If you did it, I figured. Now, does that not depict two Christs? And that's like a cat. I know you can't really see it because it's so close in. Let's look a little better. Where did I get that? That was something on YouTube. So it's showing the two Christs. It's showing twin males with a female. Or with because felines usually represent. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you something. Everybody see that? So right here, looks like the dog, the cat. That's the part of them. I connected both sides of my family to Donald Trump's family through his mother. And they're all connected to Oprah. Now, I know sixth great granddaddy, he was not a stupid man. He had a religious seal. He showed me what happened to him. And he showed me the weapons used. Equitasim Sharagatahikitu Sunimokatakia Suku. Like Donald Trump's, I believe it would have been his second or third great grandmother. When she remarried my sixth great granddad. Yeah, I have the genealogy right down there. Because for the past year, I've been looking into it because I've been in fucking denial of it. But my great granddaddy also showed me how Donald Trump and P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein traveled through time and the names they used. And you don't realize it, but the Underground Railway was connected. Because Nova Scotia, he used it as big human trafficking. The tunnels, I went to George's Island last time I went, and I said about the tunnels, and he tried like convincing me that there were no tunnels. George's Island is a fucking shit. Seriously. Sorry about that. Have a look at that. And you tell me that don't look like a ship. Oh! Right there. And, you know, you look here and ask yourself, because in under that ship, they have big, like I say, yeah, a so-called island. They have big fucking, have you ever been in there? Like, seriously, there's no way that they've got those big guns that they used. There's no way they got them down in there. Because I was down in there and there's not like the room down there. Like it's all like you're down the fucking stairs. Seriously, if you ever go to George's Island, actually observe it. You don't have to believe me. Like, where do you think a lot of like you sank my battleship? He told me that it went 75 feet down because, you know, I thought we were going to get the tour. Like, damn. But there was another 75 feet that we weren't allowed to go. And then I said about the tunnels. I said, oh, there's that. There's not tunnels? And what the fuck was it that my 7th grade granddaddy was building on George's Island? Because they were building the tunnels. It's like, it's like you keep doing that. Yes, sir. It's like, did anybody ever like, because those tunnels, they're all over Nova Scotia. They go from the sea over to the States. The tunnels are everywhere. You think of you think of ant colonies because that's how they build. The ant colonies. You look at their buildings, even the Gothic ones. You look at the detail. And you think fucking humans built those? No. The humans cite it, much like what you're getting now. The builders are the masons, the infrastructure. The Templars, Knights of the Temple. They were the church. They were pirates. It's see, people figure that it's all the reptilians. You know, this just went down because, you know, some will say that Donald Trump is a reptilian, and they'll say about their snake eyes and everything like that. So hey, you know, I figured, you know, I may as well say like touch base on that. But you look at how seriously, get some ants, throw them in a thing with see-through, and then you watch them build. They build from the ground up, right? Think of Tartarian, the Tartarians. You said about the flood. So it buried half of buildings. But each one of those buildings were always connected by tunnels. So people will flood and flood ants' nests, right? So have you ever seen somebody take like a lead or something, or like to put it in an ant's nest and then see how it tunnels through everything? Basically, what do they do when there's too many of them? They rip each other apart. But if they're in a war, or one of their members, they drag them home. Fíjate que eso, feel that, yeah, create. You know, you look at how the military is in uh, wherever King Ching or I don't know, Korea or something. Ever watched the movie Ants? Seriously, have you ever watched the movie Ants? But people say, "Oh, you're talking about ant people." Huh? What's wrong with that? You watch what you perceive to be fictional shows, but they're actually telling you something. It's up to each individual whether they see things from a bit different perspective or not. Ants will rip each other limb from limb. And what do you see in yours? And what is it all about? It's them, it's territory. It's other ones that, they use portals, which Donald Trump's uncle stole from Nikola Tesla. I guess the night that Nikola Tesla was born, there was a lightning storm. And I'm trying to, I know, like I'm looking at the night of the lightning storm, and then I'm seeing something else from my life where someone got electrocuted. And they lost the baby. And then in 2020, the night of Superman, that's when I got hit between the lookers with a flash of light. And it caused my body to go into extreme, violent vibrations. And that's when I could smell you cooking. It was frying. And I mean, it was putrid. And I stopped eating ham. Not long after that. So the night that Nikola Tesla was born, there was a lightning storm. Because it happened to me after I hollered, "God help me." So the night that Nikola Tesla was born was did something like that happen to his mother? Like, was there an electrical charge? No, you see, I can feel that going up my neck, up into that night. Holy shit, man. And then it was that, and then it was that night, like, well, the next night when I tried to unalive myself. Because I just wanted what was happening, of what I was going through, to stop. I didn't want my family going through it again. But they did better the first time. That's why I say, please excuse me if I'm not so sensitive to little aches and pains. But I started healing after that. physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But people will say, "Oh, you don't look like you're healing, Eddie. You look like you're a raging lunatic." Peraí, se tem que deixar daqui. Ahorita, like the thing is, you're healing, you're healed from something when you can talk about it and you don't feel emotion from it. You've healed from it, but you help others to heal. When I bring it forward and I say, I know that others are experiencing it because they've experienced something similar themselves. So it's like that memory. So it's triggering that, it's bringing it up. And this has been what's been passed down from my ancestors. I said, I have a long line, warlocks, healers, this, that, and everything. And narcissists too. It's like, maybe that's why we clash so much, because we're all a bunch of fucking empaths and hyokias. And we're like fighting with one another when we should be out helping other people. I'm waiting to hear back about going and having another table at a psychic holistic fair, famous spiritual thing. But it feels like I would be at my table doing readings, but it almost feels like I want to be somewhere where I can just have people sit and I just energetically heal as a collective. Because I could speak in the different, like I could do this all day long. Basically, no motorized. Suta que no culto que essa fez, ela aqui, ela vai todo esse to just talk. I know right now I don't like talk to people at the moment, but this isn't how I want to do it. I don't want to look at a computer screen. And I'm not real, give me the real technology. Let's see where that goes. I see him whispering. Hank, it's my great granddaddy's technology and shit you stole. So my great granddaddy was a good time traveler too. And the bastard could never die. They left him for dead. And they stick some dogs on him too. And there was a young woman there too. Se kita vieste que hora da ir no. E será que tudo isso não é essa? Do you know that they have the series Curse of Oak Island? The reason why the locals and what have you keep them around, but they don't want the truth to be told. Anybody been to Oak Island on the tour? They don't say much of anything. They only use two names for the most part. I was about to say Donald Trump and P. Diddy. Donald McGinnis and Samuel Ball. Time travelers. And then Jeffrey Epstein. No offense to the Vaughn family, but I see him to be Anthony Vaughn. And I'm not sure it was the father, but the 13-year-old son that the Curse of Oak Island keeps saying he's about 18, 20. He's 13. Father was 44. The father was he a witness or the executive to my great granddaddy's will? And then the son was to Samuel Bowles. So you look at the three that you have, and those three, they were like three peas in a pod. Much like P. Diddy, Donald Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. Go have a look at the picture of Samuel Ball and put a picture of P. Diddy beside it and picture P. Diddy old. You know, people come in here. I seen one woman in here yesterday, and she was showing about this about an actress from Egypt and comparing her with a present day actress. Well, hey, if everybody else can do it, like bring that forward, I can too, right? Donald Trump's uncle took, but see, it originally happened when Donald Trump's, was this, like I said, his second or third great granddaddy knew my sixth great granddaddy. See, Duncan strangely died. What, Donald? You were worried that he wasn't going to leave it to you? Oh, wait. How did that work again? You said that somebody gave Donald Trump a replica or a gold replica of the Ark of the Covenant. Do you know there was more than one? And there's probably quite a few of them on Oak Island alone. But you can't get to them. Don't believe in cloaking? You know, say pirates hid the treasures. Templars and don't they say, or isn't it that in order to find a pirate's treasure, you have to be able to think like a pirate? And do you think a pirate just sees black and white? Skeletamos, like, who's Captain Kidd? So to siya nakarata ay 50s in yeah, good. Say about Shakespeare stuff. See, in order to find that stuff, the truth has to come to light. And there are many that don't. So they're the ones that's, you know, afraid of the truth. And it's not just ones here, they're all over the world. Some of them are fleeing different countries. My sixth great granddaddy knew George Washington too, because they used to do business together. Farming as well. You say you're psychotic. Only because the system says so, right? Well, I'm not psychotic. The system might say. Or that I'm a bunch, you know, she's the Lulu. You know, I watched a thing where they said about the orphans. You try to erase the memory, you know, Men in Black. Pay attention to the light. Even said to somebody that I know was in the military, the Navy, and I said that they would have got flashed, and that's where the PTSD could come from. You get flashed, you're remembering different things. And they don't want you to remember. The channel's not for everyone. At least not for ones who are still in tune. I'm going to let you hear what she has to say. Oh, yes. And showed you that. There was another one. How many of you have been to Citadel Hill? That's Citadel Hill. Still pretty weird. When I first seen that, I seen a star. Eight-sided. An eight-sided star or octagram has diverse meanings across cultures, often symbolizing balance, cosmic order, spiritual guidance, and unity. It's been hijacked. In various religions, it represents concepts like the Eightfold Path in Buddhism, the eight forms of the goddess Lakshmi in Hinduism. Excuse me if I didn't pronounce that right. And rebirth and resurrection in Christianity. See, a lot of bad shit has gone down in Halifax. Islam, and it also signifies protection and guidance in cultures like the Mi'kmaq, and is used in Islamic art to represent divine harmony. So they're fighting over religion, well, perceived to be fighting over religion. Maybe they're just making you fight over religion. Because rebirth and resurrection, okay? It's like rebuilding the temple. You have, like, I went through the rebirth. When I died, it was like I died, come back. That's like a resurrection. And then I went through a rebirth. So, somebody's laughing at me. It's like, you laugh at me? Really? Resurrection means to bring back. You could bring back the light, you could bring back the darkness. The rebirth comes when you find the balance of both, which represents harmony, correct? Hinduism represents 8 forms of the goddess known as Ashkenaz. Hey, I wonder if I have her in there. I can't pronounce it. Associated with baptism in the Star of Bethlehem. Okay. A guide, and then the Eightfold Path is a guide to enlightenment. It's all saying the same thing. So in Islam, known as the Khatim Sulaiman, or Seal of Solomon, it can symbolize divine harmony. It is sometimes linked to unity of the 7 days of the week and the day of rest, Friday. I always thought that they did it on Saturday. Because that was okay, because Saturday and Sunday is the weekend. So some say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Some say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That way, Friday would be the last day. Yeah, I know, that's just not weird. So we were talking about the pentagram, or where'd it go? So yeah, something's trying to like attack here. Like I can feel it right there. I'm not staying on much longer, anyways. But when you get that sensation in your tongue, because it's like they have a hold of your tongue. Because I used to do that with the kids when they were little. when they stick out their tongue. I have my T-shirt ready and grab right hold of it. But it's like when, if you once upon a time in the dark one, he took the guy's tongue. He magically removed the tongue. It's like when they try to remove the tongue, they try to remove the heart. They try to mind control the brain and sidetrack it. So I'm at my fingers now. I'm in thought. Like I'm in that mode now where it's like Doseda ishurukati tikoporeketa esutore kimalakatari shilekotore sukurukimo korukiara tarisikelata taifalakaraeton aretikipututuhisra. It's like I can feel that in here. It's like seriously, Cruella. And it's that part, hurt me, you're only hurting yourself. It's understanding the energetic side of things. Because it's like, people, you can do your rituals, but you're energetically connected in ways, but, you have to use rituals. Spirit just said, like, fucking seriously? Let me see something tomorrow which I never seen before. Anyone who proposes to do good must not expect people to roll stones out of his way, but must accept his lot calmly, even if they roll a few stones upon it. That, see, what these things are, they can be like, people can turn them into like a form of a spell or an affirmation. If you wait till the wind and the weather is just right, you will never plant anything and never harvest anything. The intentions, the goals. He that will never sail until all dangers pass will never leave port. So step into the unknown in a healthy way. Oh, this one. Okay. Because reading this, it just shot me into the series of the last season of Once Upon a Time. And I'll explain that. Okay. This says, it says, drink to me only with thine eyes. Okay. And I will pledge with mine. Almost like a hypnosis. Or leave a kiss, but in a cup. And I'll not look for wine. Now, or leave a kiss, but in a cup. Now, when I watched Once Upon a Time, it had one of the witches, the one that had the gingerbread house, or the candy house, and the witch was blind, but she locked them in. Well, they actually went to hell. They went in the underworld. The hero, the heroes on the show, Regina and all them. This is not the last season. This is when they went into the underworld. When Emma was the dark one. No, she wasn't the dark one. Oh, she was the dark one, but Hulk ended up going to the underworld because he died, and they followed. Right? And when Prince Charming and Snow White went into the diner, and they needed some sort of information or something like that, the witch said to it was breathe into. She had to breathe into a vial, and that was payment because it was worth a lot on the black market. So that's like blowing a kiss, like a kiss in a cup. Is much the same as the idea. And you won't get that, but hey, someone had to keep it going because I can feel that. Get the fuck off. Yeah, oh no, yeah. Eat a live frog every morning and nothing worse will happen to you for the rest of the day. Yeah, unless you eat one of those, I'm catching that. Unless you eat like lick one of those frogs that have the psychedelic shit on them. Necesito todavía que well, William Shakespeare, that don't make sense, or somebody made a misprint. We are such stuff as dreams are made on. I'm gonna keep that out. I just sort of figure it out now. Oh, like the Pandora's box. manifestation. I thought, people living deeply have no fear of death. Specifically, usually, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. Because it's like that saying, sometimes the bigger you are, the harder you fall. It's like David and Goliath. Always bear in mind that your own resolution is to succeed. Own resolution to succeed is more important than any other one thing. And that's Abraham Lincoln. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other one thing. Putting yourself first. And that can be hard for some, including myself. Like a resolution. We all do one thing that we wouldn't normally do, and then tell each other about it, like kind of thought, hey, I did this thing that I never did. Step out the comfort zone. But don't take it literally, like sit with what I actually mean of that. To believe a thing is possible is to make it so. I like to get at the pretty simply. We can have more than we can have more than we've got because we can become more than we are. I like that. We can have more than we've got because we can become more than we are. Bettering ourselves. No, we can have more than we've got because we can become more than we are. Limitless. That being said, I'm sending you much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing to receive it, accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave, most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self, be true to yourself, be kind to yourself, be true and kind to others. And I know that can be hard sometimes. But hey, it's all about learning and growing. Some do it, some don't. It's not a rush and it's not a rat race. It's just to proceed. It's just proceed to be one. Second love. Eso